Okay. All right. In the L.A. Times this morning, there's a little squib about the concert. It says here, Paul makes peace with his extensive musical past, including extensive Beatles. Make peace with your past? Were you at war with your past?
No.
No?
But you know, you can't have any control over what these chaps write.
However,
However,
I mean, that seems to have been thematic.
no, you know what it is was when the Beatles broke up. When the Beatles broke up, it was a very tough time for all of us because you know it wasn't just our job gone; it was this relationship, this tight relationship. It was a bit like a divorce. So none of us wanted to really do any of the songs that we were famous for in the Beatles. We wanted to strike out to new pastures and try and do new stuff. So we avoided all the Beatles stuff, and when I toured with Wings, we did a couple, but very subtly. It was mainly new stuff. There's so much time gone by, it's like 20 years now, you know, that I now look at the songs and I don't think, oh, yes, those painful memories. I think, oh, those are nice songs we did, you know. And so we selected about, I don't know, about 15, 16 for the show. And it's great fun to do them. So I suppose that's what you mean about having come to peace with his past.
Oh, okay. That having been covered, has the tour been memorable for you?
Well, we haven't started it yet.
No, I mean, but you've been in Europe,
the European
etc.
bit,
Sure.
yeah, that's right. I just thought I'd have a little joke at your expense there, you know, just showbiz, isn't it? No, yeah, we've been to Europe, and it's really been a blast, a lot of fun. We went to Scandinavia first, and people said, oh, they're very reserved here, you know, they're cold people, but they weren't. They were great, they were dead groovy and kind of young. A lot of people my age with kids on their shoulders, sort of things, little young kids. So amazing age range. It was a lot of fun. Paris was crazy. Was they crazy in Paris? Madrid was far out. Rome was crazy too. But we had a lot of fun. Germany, all sorts of places. You name it, we've played there.
What expectations do you have for America?
Well, you know, I love America. I mean, for one, it's English-speaking audiences. You should forget that because you think, well, everywhere you go, you know, they'll understand what you're... And Europe does speak, they do speak such good English that you can pretty much say anything. But there's something about an English-speaking audience. I don't know, you feel like you're thinking in the same language. And I don't know, you know, I always figure anyone who's paid to actually come to my show must like me. So, you know, I intend to have a great time with them. It's like meeting old friends, even though some of them might be half my age. There's still the continuity of the Beatles material and after that the Wings stuff. That kind of gives me a relationship with them, you know. So I kind of feel like I know them, and they certainly feel like they know me.
That must be kind of warm.
Well, it is. It's great. Yeah. I mean, some people say, "Oh, don't you get fed up, you know, with fame and people coming up in the street and stuff?" Occasionally you do, but mainly it's sort of, "Yo, Paul, hey, all right, you keep it up, man. Thanks for the music," stuff like that. You know. So how can you hate that? It's like, you know, it's a compliment.
You said something on the air the other night, which I'd like to have you go over for us, that you're doing some of these numbers for the first time live.
Yeah. What it was is when we came to do these songs and rehearse them, I thought, oh great, we'll do Sergeant Pepper, and we're having a lot of fun in rehearsal doing it. And I thought, why does this feel so fresh? You know, I haven't done it in a long time. But I realized the only time we ever did it was when we recorded it, the day we recorded it. That was it. As far as the Beatles were concerned, we'd given up touring then. So we never got to do that ever again. I never got to do Hey Jude live. And those songs are really good live. They kind of, they need to be live. You know, songs like Sergeant Pepper that talk about the audience. You're such a lovely audience. We'd like to take you home with us. And so it's great singing that to real people instead of just to a microphone, as I did in the past. So, in fact, you know, this is the nice thing about the Beatles stuff. It is actually fresher to me than most of the more contemporary stuff.
Speaking of the contemporary stuff, I'm real impressed with Put Her There. You wrote that for your father?
Good man. No, well, I wrote it because my father said it to me when I was a kid. Me and my brother. He used to say to us, put it there, and we had to say, if it weighs. It was just one of those things. He used to say some very funny things, my dad. But he was from Liverpool, you see, you mustn't forget that. He used to say, you'd say to him, well, you know, why is that, Dad? He'd say, well, because there's no hairs on a seagull's chest. Yeah, okay. strange man. But you know, it was great, and I loved him. And he's no longer with us now. He died in '76. So you know, you remember those little things. You think, oh, you know, that was great when he said, "Put it there if it weighs a ton." They become special to you. And what happens is, if you've got your own kids, as I have, you start to say to them, you know, "Put it there if it weighs a ton." Hey, you know, my dad said that to me. You know, you've got to remember this. You know, like instructing them in the history of the family and stuff. And I was on holiday, and I just thought that it might be good for a song. Kind of wrote itself in one session, so it came out quick.
Paul McCartney, Agent of Glasnost.
Agent of Glasnost,
Yeah.
yeah.
Comment on the power of pop and rock music as a force for good.
Well, number one, it is a force for good. We have a lot of power, particularly in the Beatles days. Even now, you know, but then you had a lot of power, and we always used to say to people, look, we never used it like Hitler. We never sort of said, you know, follow us and go crazy and do something. But generally, we were talking about peace and love and fairly optimistic and positive things, you know, in the 60s. Well, I like to think we were anyway. And I think it's come of age now. You know, you finally find things happening like the starvation in Ethiopia. The governments don't respond. Your government didn't respond, nor did ours. Yeah, they kind of go, oh yeah, you send a couple of mil down there, you know, that'll be fine. It's not enough. So you have to get somebody like Bob Geldof, who springs out of the masses, and he's just this fella out of a group, and he says, yeah, but your money, you know, and he comes on effing and blinding and swearing away at everyone. And he says, well, he's rather uncouth, isn't he? But the thing is, he raised 50 million. How uncouth is that? You know? And he actually helps to save the people who are actually dying. I don't think they care whether he's swearing or he's Irish. You know, they just want action. And you find now, since the 60s, since things that, like George doing the Bangladesh thing, when those were the people who were starving, you're finding now that the people who are more grown up, we're of a political age anyway. I mean, being 47, you know, I could be in politics. It's kind of, it'd be all right now. God forbid, you know, it's just too much like work. But we could. We're of the age where we could be at that kind of thing. So I think, you know, our consciences prick us occasionally, and in my case, it's the Friends of the Earth. It's an environment thing. Because Linda and I were just thinking about this tour, and we thought, well, you know, what'll happen at the end of it all? We'll have gone around the world, we'll have said hello to all these people, and what will it mean? Well, you know, we'll have had a good time, we'll have made some money, said hello to our fans. But we said it'd be nicer if it could actually mean a bit more. And I think, you know, the environment issue, what with Exxon and all of these things that people are seeing daily on their television, I think people want something done about it. So really all I'm doing is helping bring publicity to that. Like on interviews like this, I mention it. I mention it briefly in the concert. I don't preach. I don't really know that much about it. I'm just one of the viewing audience, really. I'm a father of 4 kids. That's really my concern, you know. I'd like to be able to breathe the air. But, you know, also the people who work for Exxon would like to breathe the air and like to swim in those oceans as well, you know. So it's not just my problem or, you know, our problem. It's something that I'm just lending publicity to anyway. And I think, you know, it's not just me. You get Sting, you get Peter Gabriel, Bob Geldof, we talked about. A lot of people involved in that. Amnesty International's come really to the fore. And I mean, there were lots of us who knew about that. Anybody who kind of read a little bit here and there knew what they were doing, these prisoners of conscience. But to actually bring it to the people and say, look, you know, there's these guys being held in jail just because he said, I don't like the color of the leader's face or something. And so I'm quite optimistic about this. I think it's a good power. I think as long as everyone uses it for the good, which they seem to be doing, you know.
Finally, we just read of the final settlement of the large tangle of lawsuits. I'm not a lawyer, but what is this going to mean for you and for the other former members of the group?
Well, I'm not a lawyer either, but what it's going to mean is that we've solved our problems that we had over all these years. Basically, what we were trying to do was the Beatles broke up in '69, and ever since we've been trying to get that into a legal thing, you know, because we're very tied together in the Beatles legally in every which way. So it's been a long legal wrangle. What happens is somebody like myself gets an advisor, and so does George, and Ringo gets an advisor, and John, now Yoko, gets an advisor, And it takes 20 years to sort it out. You know those things. You know they happen to everyone. It's happened to us. But the good thing is that it is over. We have finished it all. We've just kind of settled it all. So hopefully, you know, we can maybe do some positive things. There's a film that we've been talking about doing called The Long and Winding Road, which is like just a Beatles history. That I think, you know, if we're all friendly enough and stuff, we can actually contribute to, maybe narrate some stuff, maybe write some new music. So, you know, this is kind of what people have been wanting to see from us. Maybe we could get together and be friendly. And so I think there's a few of those kind of on the horizon.
Cutaway, please.
Did I mind?
Talk to you.
Isn't she lovely? Stevie Wonder's
right.
We got a little baby girl or something. They talk to you and they mean a lot.